Hurts. Yeah,
Not
let's
have
do
to
it.
be, have the whole game
Start
on.
45 minutes.
It's common sense for small talk before meetings.
Yeah.
I know you're not used to that kind of world.
Nope.
It's okay. Let's do it.
Welcome back to Two Homers and a Realist. We have the whole original gang here along with a guest. So starting with me, I'm Steve.
Lucas.
Connor.
David.
David's here. David's joining us. Jay couldn't be here, but Jay did provide some input for what we're going to cover tonight.
So Jay sent answers in?
He sent some answers in,
Okay,
and
all
I
right.
have his answers, I have my answers, and I'm
I've
going to
got
get your
my
guys'
answers.
answers. So this is going to be an Ask You Anything type of format. We're going to cover some important questions that have been on my mind for a while, and I want to know your answers to them. So we're going to start right off the top with, what are the top 5 OU games you have attended? Who wants to kick this one off?
I want to hear some of the older guys over here.
Well, I don't know any older guys.
All
but
mine are post 2000.
I know some.
for
I know
most
some
part.
people
Okay,
who
I'll
are
kick
very
us off.
experienced.
Yeah,
but
I'll kick. Yeah, you guys are versed. I'll kick us off though. So so I start from 1 or start from 5?
however you want to do it,
Let's go down the list.
down the list.
So we'll start at 5. 5 was tough. I put OU Baylor 2019. As brutal of a game that was, the comeback
Oh, it was special. It was super special.
and where we sat, the people we sat around,
Yeah.
who just
Oh.
were in shock and awe by the end
oh,
of the game,
that
trying
toxic little punk.
to shake our hand
Oh.
after the game, saying it's all fun. It's like, no, dude, you take your hooker out and you leave.
Yeah,
you know?
he was so that kid. It's amazing he didn't get
It-
just completely. Had they won that game, there might have been a fight.
No, there might have been, and
Yeah.
it might have been with me and you.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
the
and
people we
him,
were with.
and yeah.
It wouldn't have
And
been
for
good.
context, that was the Jalen Hurts comeback.
Jalen Hurts
It
comeback.
was. That was amazing. That was pretty damn special. All right, number 4.
Number 4, OU Tennessee 2015. Another comeback win. Baker's coming out party, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
Uh,
Turn the corner.
this one was tough as well, just because that game itself, the whole game was not fun. Like,
Right.
Yeah, it sucked.
took a lot.
Yeah,
it took
until
a-
about 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but at the same time, I looked at atmosphere. Knoxville was awesome. It was just such a fun experience. Great fans, awesome crowd. Like it was just a checkerboard crowd.
Yeah.
It was spectacular. Number 3, OU Texas this last year, 2021, was one of the most electric things I've ever experienced in my life.
It was pretty amazing.
Like one of the best memories I have, and it'll stick in my mind for a while. And I'm glad Lucas could share this with us.
Yeah, that's true.
But- Shared it
with
in the
our
end.
I had better
absolute
seats.
well, with our absolute insistence, pulling teeth, dragging him there, bribing him,
Yeah.
he almost misses this game.
One of my favorite memories is
You're welcome.
Kennedy Brooks scoring the game winner and running down Rose to Steve and Ava and the family,
Yep,
and just
yep.
freaking out.
Just freaking, just embracing. At least his first Texas game ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That was
Lucas's
Nolan's too.
Lucas's
Nolan's
son's
too, that's right.
First, yep. So that was awesome. Number 2 is Texas Tech OU 2008 was the jump around.
The jump
that's,
around game.
I think enough said there.
Number 2, Texas Tech.
Number 2 Texas Tech versus number 3 Oklahoma.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Destroyed them.
Yep.
He destroyed them.
And at number 1, I have OU versus the Ohio State University in 2017.
Yeah.
It's a game I don't want to go back and revisit.
Fantastic game. So for those who don't know, David is an Ohio State fan. He's here learning about an awesome
What real
program.
tradition is like.
He's going to provide some input. He's attended quite a few OU games. I'll say that. He has definitely been to a lot. So Lucas, give us your top 5.
My list isn't too far off of Connor's. I didn't rank them, but I have the 2015 Tennessee game. That was probably my favorite road trip of any game I've been to that I can think of, just because of how bad it was for 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter and overtime was epic.
And then the drive home was just so much more blissful.
And, yeah, it was like 14 and a half hours back from Knoxville or whatever.
Yeah.
And I told my buddies, I said, you know how horrible
This would have been.
during the game, I said, you know how bad this drive is going to be after this game.
I told Shelby the same thing in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
100%.
Because
Said, this is
it
going
was
to be
so
a
bad.
long drive
So-
home tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah, the next day, because
Yeah.
it's a late night game. Yeah. Oh.
I've got the 2017 Ohio State trip.
Uh-huh.
That's up there. Mainly because they had, beat us pretty good at home
Yeah.
the previous season.
Yeah.
It was good to go get revenge, and then of course the flag planting, and
Epic.
all of its epicness. Yeah,
If we had any balls, that would be the Baker statue.
I agree.
They're
It would be
gonna
awesome.
unveil.
That was Baker. That was so the Tennessee game was Baker's coming out party.
Yep.
The 2017 Ohio State game was like, all right, this is like
Well,
that is
yeah.
that is
That
Baker
was
Mayfield.
his establishment
That is
of
Baker
himself in Oklahoma lore.
Mayfield.
Yeah.
Forever.
For sure.
I've got the 2008 Texas Tech jump around game. So me and Connor had 3 right there.
There you go. 3 for 3.
I've got my first OU Texas game was 2000.
Yep.
63 to
damn
14.
Special game.
Can't beat that.
I'll never forget anything about that game. Quentin
Wow.
Griffin just destroying them.
Just coming right out of the
defense,
gate.
Rocky Calmus.
Defense, yeah.
Cold, misty rain the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Applewhite started it.
Zero
He got
answers.
pulled
Zero
for Chris
answers for anything
Sims.
that we
Yeah.
had.
It was-
Zero answers.
I was on the 12th row in the OU end zone on the stairs next to the tunnel,
Mm-hmm.
and it couldn't have been any better. I was jumping up and down on that chain link fence. There was no tarp over the tunnel at that point, so
Yeah.
the players, when they were coming in and out of the
Yeah.
locker room, you could
Yeah,
yell
you
at
could
them
yell
all
at
you
'em,
wanted
yeah.
to.
that's what it should be.
Another one I have on here is the '99 Texas A&M game
Yeah. Yeah.
in Norman.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact score. I want to say 52-6
It
or
was
something
about
along
that,
those
yeah.
lines.
And they were like number 9 or 10 in the nation.
I think they were 8, which I didn't remember until I looked at it a couple months ago. But
Yeah.
I think
It's phenomenal.
to me that showed me that Stoops knew what it took to get done, because I think at
and
that
that we were truly at a different level
Yeah.
right away.
right away. That game, I think we had a blocked punt and a blocked field goal or extra point. It seemed like in all the phases of the Stoops,
Everything was working,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
offense, defense, block, special teams.
trick plays.
That was to me what kind of kicked off the Stoops era.
Yeah.
in my memory. And then I had a couple honorable mention. I had OU Texas this year, like Connor did, and then I had 2012 Oklahoma State, which
That was a
the
fun game.
overtime game where
Overtime
Brendan
one.
Clay
Yeah.
ran
Clay
in
ran it
Yeah.
Yeah.
and threw the ball.
And they hit. I mean, it was so beautiful, but I was surprised that they didn't wait to make sure there wasn't a late flag. They hit the fireworks because that's the conclusion of the game. If it's
Yeah.
a good score,
They hit the fireworks and the team hit the field.
and the team hit the field as he's crossing the goal
Yeah.
line. It was so. You talk about a game with so-called momentum.
Yeah.
The momentum was there, and
'Cause
everyone
we were
knew it.
down
This
that
is
whole game.
This is happening.
Yeah.
It's done. We've won this game.
That's a good one.
That's a real good one. So Jay's, I'll read Jay's from bottom to top. He starts or he ends with the Kansas game, the Pirine game in the rain. He says for laughs, for fun, and that was a special
Respect.
game.
Yeah, it
and
was.
something outside of us. So I was there. Lucas was there, Jay was there, and there might have been 4 other people there when Pirine broke that
Yeah.
record.
Now,
Despite
I
the
specifically went to Academy
people
and
who
bought
claimed
rain
they'd
boots
been there.
that morning before that game.
It was pretty phenomenal. He says, and his are all real recent. Iowa State, the Motley interception in the end zone. TCU, the Parker knockdown.
On the 2-point conversion try.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was
in my head
nail
as a
biter.
possible game.
Yeah.
At Oklahoma State. No, I'm sorry. The real OSU at Ohio State. So he agrees with you guys.
I was
at
there with him.
Tennessee.
And he was there with me.
So
yeah.
there you go. So as you'll learn later, I don't have those games to name. Those 2
'Cause you
games
weren't
I didn't
there.
go. But I did have a great party
I
here.
thought
for
you went to
those.
games.
I did too.
It goes to the important ones.
Those are important.
There are
They
other
are
things
important.
going on. So mine, starting at the bottom, 2000 Nebraska. That was where we established ourselves as the number 1 team in the nation. That was a big turning point. So it was hard for me not to have that one at the top.
I went on the field
But-
after that.
I did too.
On that game.
I did too.
Went
I
to
got
the
grass.
south end
I
zone.
still have grass over there that was from that. It's in that little shot glass. 2021 Texas. So I agree with you guys on that. 2008 Texas Tech, jump around. Yep. 2000 Florida State. So the national championship. That's very hard. That was an extremely special game.
Yep.
My first national championship to experience as an adult, for sure. I was 10 years old when they won the one before that. And then 2000 Texas. That was just an epic game. It's not supposed to be that way. That was amazing. So next question. What, and I'm going to reword this a little bit. Well, I'll read the question as I read it to you guys because Lucas brought up the point that I was implying that you've attended this, but it didn't say attended. So what game that OU won, I was thinking that you also attended, would you like to relive today without knowing the outcome? and we'll go in reverse order. I had a couple contenders. 2021 Texas and 2000 Florida State would be pretty cool, but I'd say 2000 Texas. I want to relive that game and see it again and not know what's about to happen, because that is just so. If you knew what was going to happen, it'd be pretty interesting to see. But it was so shocking, especially coming out of the years that we'd come out of, struggling against them, losing the way we've lost. I mean, that was a decade of losses that shouldn't have happened in many cases. And then to beat them that way was just pretty amazing. Jay has Florida State in 2000. He would like to relive that game. I don't think he attended that game, so
No.
he answered it the way Lucas did. Lucas, what do you got?
Yeah, I didn't have it as attended, so I had the 2000 National Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was attended without knowing the outcome, you have to go with the game that there's not stress. Because, I mean, Tennessee was awesome because we came back and won.
Right.
But it was stressful.
Yeah.
I would have to say probably the jump around game because it was a complete
so-
blowout.
Yeah.
They were talking crap before they got
Oh,
here.
so much
Game
crap.
day was here.
Huge game.
It started snowing just a little bit.
That's
like
right. I
some
forgot
little
about
bitty
that.
flurries of snow.
But it wasn't cold. Yeah. It
Yeah.
was just. Oh,
it
it's
wasn't.
So nice.
It wasn't really cold, but it started flurrying.
I think it wasn't cold just because it was so electric. In
Yeah,
that
that's
stadium.
probably
Could've
true.
been.
We stood up the whole game.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sat down at halftime.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
only time I sat down in that game, and I'm not someone who stands during games.
Yeah, we were up quite a bit, way up in the upper deck. I
Yeah.
sat with two different Steves at that game. My dad and then two different Steves. So
Nice.
it's the first time I've ever sat with two Steves, and we won pretty handily. So I think I need to find two
Yeah.
Steves and sit with them for the rest of it. So what do you
Nice.
got?
Yeah, so I originally had the 2000 National Championship game as well. I obviously not having attended it. For a game that I have attended, I would probably say probably the Ohio State game. I mean, just that.
Now, would you? I'm sure you're saying the one we won at Ohio State.
Yes,
That's the one
at
we
Ohio
lost.
State. At Ohio State. Good
So,
point.
do you get to be sober?
So that's the thing. I still sobered up for the game.
Okay. Okay.
I remember that entire game.
Okay,
Like
okay.
the time between
I didn't realize
about
that.
6 hours before the game to when we kicked off.
That's what you don't remember.
Like where I came to was quite literally dotting the I and me freaking out and just railing on the band, and then all these
And
OU fans
my
turning
God.
around
Ohio,
saying,
you were Ohio State.
"Oh no, OU fans
Oh,
saying
no.
we're not like this. This is not representative of who we are," and me quite literally saying,
And
something-
all of them, didn't one of them say, "Oh, that poor pregnant woman, your pregnant wife that was with
"No,
you"?
that was the OU Texas game.
Oh, okay.
Same year,
Different
same year.
experience.
Yeah, different.
I didn't know
different
Connor
time.
at that point, so I might have been one of the fans that turned around and was like, "This guy's not one of us."
Yeah, but what's funny is the guys who turned around and were
And you're
saying,
still saying that now. You know it.
this guy, the guys that are turning around and saying that to me by the end of the game are the ones turning around hugging
Oh,
me.
the
And I'm like,
embrace.
dude, like, yeah, I love you guys too, you idiots.
I was here the whole time.
So yeah,
Okay,
it was-
that's
yeah.
good. All right, what game that OU lost would you like to relive today without knowing the outcome? So I think this is a pretty challenging
answer-
question.
Did you answer the last one?
Yeah,
what'd you
I
say?
started
Okay.
with
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
at 2000 Texas.
Yep.
So who wants to kick this one off? Reliving a loss and you don't get to know the outcome. So this is like really putting yourself through pain.
Is this living a loss that we attended or did not attend?
You can go either way. I don't care.
I went with the.
That's interesting. I didn't go with attendance, so I attended.
I
stuff
went
as
with
a sponsor.
the OU Georgia 2018 Rose Bowl.
Okay.
I just in
2018, right? The
2017
season.
Yeah. So that game is just the hype around it was exciting.
Did you attend that game?
No,
Okay.
no.
We were here in this living room.
We were.
You almost broke
we were
Max's
right there.
foot.
Yeah. No,
God,
that was the Oklahoma State game. Man,
yeah.
I was drunk that whole year and I remember all that. But
God,
yeah. But no, I think just that game in general was exciting. Like the whole game was exciting. Like I'm not saying it was a great.
We were talking about
experience,
this earlier. Ava was saying that was her pick too.
I would still pick that game to relive even if it was a loss.
God, it's so painful for me. She
Yeah,
wants that to be
too
the game,
painful.
but she can't do it. It's too painful.
But we don't know the outcome. You don't know the outcome going in.
You're gonna know it again.
You would know it again, but you don't know it.
God.
So
Oh my God. So, and I'm thinking in all of these that you don't know that you're reliving it, so that isn't a cheat.
Right.
But that'd be really something if you knew you had chosen to let yourself relive it, and you're like, oh wow,
have
we
to
must
accept
pull
the
this
fact
out,
that
and
you're
then all of a
again.
sudden you're like, what? I must really hate myself.
I decided to drive back to Dallas that night at like 1:30 a.m.
Oh, that's
with a
right.
newborn child because I was so upset after that game.
Not smart decisions.
Oh, it was a smart decision because I could lay in bed the rest of the day and mourn.
So I'm going to jump in. Jay had the 2017 Georgia game as well. I just can't do it.
It was
I
too.
can't do it.
It was too long because of all the scoring.
It was just
So that's-
too. I love the game. I thought it was a great football game.
That's one of the best
classic
football
football
games
game.
ever
Didn't-
played.
Yeah.
It's funny. OU's been in several classics and they lost almost all of them. The big ones for OU, they win really big. The classics, aside from some of the Nebraska games from a long time ago, they have lost a lot of these. So mine, I start with a consideration for the 1995 OSU game, Oklahoma State. That was really painful. That's the first time they'd beaten us since
19 years, something like that, wasn't it?
1976, and it was just it was painful, like they all are, but it was differently painful. I felt happy for them at the end of it to see how happy they were. And at the same time, I felt sorry for them later on.
Because of how bad we were?
Because of how big of a deal it was to them. So one of the things that was telling was how many of them ripped off their shirts that were covering up their OSU stuff, and they weren't proud enough to show they were OSU fans until they win. And then they go and they put on their graduation medallions 12-0, which is how much they beat us. It was 12-0. And they were so proud of having achieved that victory over us, and we were not a good team. So I felt sorry for him in that respect,
Right.
but I felt happy for him at the time. That's not my game, though. 2005 Boise State is my technical loss that I would relive because it was a great football game, and at the same time, I felt happy for them because they were sort of the OU of decades prior, kind of the outsider who never gets respect, and they played a magnificent game. We played a great game. We should have won that game. They should have won that game, and they ended up doing it. But my number one on this is a loss in 1984 to Texas, which everyone else looks at as a tie, but 15-15 was, by God, a loss. And that was my first OU Texas game.
I didn't realize that was your first.
It poured rain the entire weekend, not just the entire game, the entire weekend. It rained through the rain gear. I didn't understand what was going on.
There's a controversial call in that game, too.
Oh,
right?
were there not? A couple controversial
They added an
calls.
official the following season to all of college football.
Because of that one game.
Because of that game.
So the real critical bad call, there's several bad calls, lack of giving us a timeout, some other things. But Keith Stansberry intercepts the ball in the end zone.
And
Gets a foot in.
Gets foot in. He slides for like 4 yards.
Yeah.
And because it's so wet, he just slides on the AstroTurf all the way out of bounds. But he is on his butt sliding, and they called it out of bounds.
Yeah.
It can't be out of bounds. And so they still have the ball. They call a penalty on us too. They end up kicking a tying field goal. So I'm hearing like this lady that's chanting throughout the whole game, Texas sucks, and she's screaming to like blood, like a blood vein coming out of her forehead. And I'm turning around just staring at her. She goes, "You'll understand someday." By God, I did understand. But what happened at the end of that game was I, as a 10-year-old boy, had to go to the bathroom really bad. Really bad.
Story.
And so I told my dad, I said, I got to go to the bathroom. And I'd waited too long, which, I got to be sympathetic for Max when he was little that he would do this. I waited too late, and it was near the end of the game. He goes, "We're not leaving." He goes, "You can hold it. We're not leaving." And I'm like, so I pee my pants. So as Texas is kicking that field goal, I'm peeing my pants. And I rode home the whole way in rain-soaked and urine-soaked pants all the way from the State Fair Park.
Wow.
That's a hike and a half, too.
I hate Texas.
Texas is the worst.
What do you got? What was your loss?
I had the Boise State was one of the ones that I had narrowed down because it's such a fun game. The trick
Phenomenal
plays,
game. Gosh.
they went against
Come
us.
from
but
behind.
Adrian Peterson, last time he touches the ball in
It's
OU
a
uniform,
touchdown.
it's a 25-yard touchdown run on the first play of that
First play of
overtime.
the overtime. The interception for a touchdown by Michael Thompson. Yeah.
But I ended up going with a game that I didn't attend, and mainly because it ended up not meaning anything in the long run, and that was the 2003 conference championship game against Kansas State.
I was there.
It was
I
what was that,
stayed at
35 to
David's
7?
house.
Was that 35 to 7?
Yeah, we scored.
We were
late.
never really
no,
in it.
never in it. Never
in
in it.
White got hurt. Sproles lit it
Sproles
up,
ran for a
Sproles.
gazillion yards.
but we lost that game and still played the national title game.
Yeah, we were a
So
great team.
If I was
Still
going to
played
have
well.
to,
Great,
if I was
great
going to have to
team.
sit through a loss,
Yeah.
that loss didn't mean anything in the long
No,
run.
it didn't. It
because
didn't mean
we still
anything at
played
all,
in that game.
other than the potential injury to White.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so that's good. Good answer. So next question, moving along. What OU loss that you attended would you like to have not attended? For me, I have several. The 2001, the 2000, the 2001.
Oklahoma State.
Well, no, I had the case. I think I confused it. The 2003, the one you're talking about. I was there at that game
Oh, yeah.
in 2003. The 2003 Oklahoma State. Or no, that'd be 2002. 2001 Oklahoma State. That's what I flipped.
Yeah.
I flipped those.
We lost at
those
home.
numbers. Yeah, we lost at home.
Roy Williams had a chance to interception,
Yeah.
and like 2 plays later, they
Yeah.
threw it to Rashawn Woods in the front corner.
And then, but the most painful one's the 2004 USC game. That was very expensive, painful. Do not want to have to
I did not
endure
attend
that
that game.
again. That sucked. Jay's was the 2021 Baylor game. So this past year.
This past year.
Yeah, that was kind of rough. That wasn't in particular rough to me.
I don't.
but-
He hasn't been to as many.
Yeah, so he can't.
Losses,
It's hard.
yeah.
He's got a better record than
Yeah.
me. What do you got, Lucas?
I've got the 2004 Sugar Bowl, which is the 03 season against LSU.
Okay.
All them stupid redneck Cajun SOBs on Bourbon Street. And I was the idiot that only packed OU clothes for this trip because I didn't see that LSU was going to beat us. So
I'm with you.
I had all OU clothes after the game that we should have won. Going out on Bourbon Street afterwards was not as fun as it should have been. So
Yeah.
Connor, what do you got?
So I didn't really. It was hard for me to look at home games just because it's like we just go to games. I also put the 2021.
Yeah, it'd be hard to say I don't want to go to a game. Just,
Yeah,
you know,
I
break my
also put
streak.
the 2021 Baylor game as my game. It's just I don't know that
It
just
was-
the whole season last year and just kind of just bitter and
And
just,
it just climaxed.
you know
there
and
with
it
that.
was like all right this
Yeah.
is to
It would be the OSU.
this was
game
everything
had
that
we gone to
Lucas and Jay
game.
have been talking about and
Yeah.
like I hate having to understand.
Yeah, a week
these
later
things
against
coming to
Oklahoma State,
fruition.
if we would have gone to that game, that'd be on this list.
That would be on the list, absolutely. But I guess one close, if I am thinking about home games, like 2017 Iowa State was not enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like that was a tough game. Like we were
It was
a far superior team. And
so frustrating.
watching them come out and plant their tiny little flag in the middle of our
So
field.
sad.
I mean, we what did we figure out the other day? Oh, the 10 losses in the Stoops era. Is that what we came up with at home?
Yeah.
10 or 11.
It was 10 or
It was
11.
10, yeah.
Or did we count the Riley? We counted the current. Was that from 2000 or from 99
well,
to
the game
current?
you just referred to would have been a Riley game, right? But,
Is that what we figured out? From 99 to current, it was 11, or was it
No,
just the Bob
just
Stoops?
the Bob Stoops era.
Okay,
Yeah. Oh, home
There-
games?
yeah, home-
Oh,
yeah,
maybe
just
it
home
was.
games.
Maybe it was just that.
because there was the K-State
Yeah,
kicker
'cause-
situation.
'cause-
Honeycutt
Yeah, well,
missed the
Stoops
field goal
never
and the
lost
extra
at home.
point.
He never
Well, I
lost
mean,
at
yeah,
home.
if we're going to go down that road,
TCU.
the Baylor game in 2014 was
So
devastatingly bad.
this one
Tyreek Hill.
will pull on potential. Yeah, the Tyreek Hill was rough. That would be one that would be on my list if I wasn't if I was willing to give up the home streak.
yeah, the
I
home
would give
streak,
up the
yeah.
Tyreek Hill re-kick.
Yeah, that's what I had to base mine on. I didn't want to give up any of those.
So, what game that you did not attend would you choose to attend? And I want an answer both knowing the outcome and without knowing the outcome. And I've got a long list, so I'll kick it off and kind of try to be brief. 1977 Ohio State. I'd like to go to that game and not know the outcome.
When you were 2 years old,
Well, I mean, I'm thinking of as
Reliving
an adult, reliving. Being able to live it.
Gotcha.
I didn't say relive in this one. 2017 Ohio State, not knowing because I wasn't at that game that you guys were at. 2015 Tennessee, and I would like to do it not knowing that one. The two I chose, notice I haven't had a knowing one yet. The 1987 Nebraska game, I'd love to be able to relive that one, go to it, and not know that outcome. That was a pretty amazing game when we kicked the door in. And at the time, they called it the second game of the century. It was 1 versus 2, and they were talking a lot of trash, how we weren't going to win in their house.
Yep.
And then the one I'd like to know the outcome is actually a loss, 1971 against Nebraska. I'd like to say I was at the game of the century and be able to live it, and I'd go ahead and know the outcome. Jay's answers were 2017 Georgia and 2000 Florida State. So kind of similar ones we've been talking about. What do you guys got?
I went with 2013 Notre Dame. I haven't been up there.
Yeah, that
I
would've been
think
an awesome one to go
I think that would have been a fun road trip, and not knowing
Yeah.
one way or the other, because just the trip of the experience of going to South Bend and seeing
Yeah.
all that goes with that trip.
a
No
beautiful
matter what
day,
happened in the
too.
game, that would have
It was a
been
beautiful day,
Cool.
and we won. Jumped up to a 14-0 lead with about 10 seconds
Blake
into the
Bell.
game.
Yeah. And then the knowing I had the 86 Orange Bowl against Penn State, which would be the 85 season when we won the national championship.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Because I only have 2 of those in my lifetime to think
Yep.
about, so that
That'd
would be.
That'd be pretty. I
Lucas-
remember that.
Lucas-
one.
I would have
is
been. I would have
annoying.
been 7 years old, so it would have been sick.
I picked literally the same exact two.
No way.
Awesome.
Yeah,
you guys
I-
do that so
How-
much. It's freaky.
We have completely different mindsets
Yeah, with-
when it
I-
comes to life.
with I guess with knowing, mine was with knowing. I would have liked to
Okay.
have gone to the Notre Dame game.
Right,
Without
right.
knowing, I would have loved to have gone to that '86
Oh my God.
Orange Bowl. Like that
That'd
would have
be
just been.
so amazing. I remember. It's funny. I vividly remember that game. Robbie Robertson came in to interview Switzer in the locker room. He kissed him really big. I thought,
Yeah.
why did he kiss him? And he said, because he's happy. So, what single OU game would you like to reverse the outcome of? Lucas, what do you got? You got to pick one. I've got a bunch on my list.
Oh, how are you going to say all of them? 'Cause
I'll say them all, but I'll say the one that's my choice.
I really wanted to go with the LSU game because I was there and I would have been
Right.
at the game we won the national championship, which
Right.
would have been epic.
Yeah, for sure.
But I went with the 08 Florida game because
I went with the 08 Florida
Oh
game
my
as well.
god! Because I think it would be a bigger feather in Bob Stoops' cap if he'd have won in 2000 and 2008 as
Yeah.
opposed to 2000 and
Yeah.
2003.
point.
That having that gap.
Lo-
That
longevity.
gap.
of-
yeah,
Yeah.
because
yeah,
then right now
success.
we would be talking about OU only having a 14-year
Right.
gap of
Right.
not having a national championship,
Not like
as
it was
opposed
one
to a
lucky
21
team.
year. Or
and you'd
whatever.
still have people, even though it's 2003, which was pretty far removed,
Yeah.
you'd still have people saying he won with John Blake's players
right.
in 2003, which would
Yeah.
be more
so
of a fraud. but-
That's why I chose 08.
Uh-huh.
I can't say the Georgia game because I don't know if I think we could have beat Bama, but I'm
Right.
not
You
going to.
don't know the
I can't
outcome.
You don't know the
guarantee
outcome.
that
Yeah.
if we flip
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
beat Bama.
Yeah.
So I can guarantee.
We're-
And the other thing about the 03 one would be if we did win that, the AP probably still votes USC
Yeah.
with their fake national
Yep.
championship.
Yep.
Even though we would have got the BCS
And we're
trophy,
still split.
right, and we're
it would
splitting.
it was been a split.
That's a
but
good
the
point. I mean,
08
that's a
season
good point.
was BCS. That was it.
And we were so good.
Yeah,
We were
and that was the
so
best scoring team of all time.
prolific.
I think the
They were
Bradford one. So
so amazing.
that's why I went with the 08.
Stupid
So,
putting DeMarco Murray
oh God, back to
Returning
receive
kicks.
kickoffs. Oh my God,
and
that's all it took.
And what was that Tech?
no, it was the game
Missouri.
before against Missouri. It
Oh,
was Big
Missouri.
12 title game.
So, Jay went with 2008 Florida for the
Oh,
same
my
reasoning for program and Bob's legacy.
Wow.
My consideration games were 2005 Boise State, 2017 Georgia, but for the same reason, I can't rank it above any of these others, which are going to be national championships. And you can't.
Same with Bama. Same with
it's
LSU.
gotta be a
the
national
last 3 years are
championship.
all semifinals.
2008 Florida for all the reasons you've mentioned. 2004 USC, which is probably more bitter for me because I was there and had to experience it, and it was experience it by myself. I went to that game by myself.
I debated that one.
and just went. I met up with friends there, but I attended and was in the seat by myself.
I swear you got on TV in that game, dude.
I probably
I
did.
swear I saw Steve.
Oh, I'm sure.
No, they did a single shot of an OU fan in the stands
Crying.
doing this and looking up, and I swear I was like,
For the listeners,
I
that was
vividly
putting
remember
both
asking my
palms
mom,
against his
was
face.
that
Yeah,
Steve?
was not exactly Surrender Cobra, but it was close. The next in tightest consideration, 1987 Miami. That was for an 11-year-old boy or a 12-year-old boy. That was a heartbreaker. That was really, 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 really hard.
It's
to lose that
heartbreaking
game.
for someone who has to watch the U on ESPN
Yes,
30 for 30.
exactly.
It's as someone who wasn't even alive.
Now, my number one, my choice is the 2003 LSU game, and I like your reasoning of why you don't have that there because of that Bob Stoops legacy. But that would have been really special.
A split national championship.
That was the
too.
last. That was the last game. 2000. I don't know if that was the last game Brian ever went to with me, but that was. It might have been the last game that he ever went to. So that would have been important. So let's change up a little bit and have a little bit of a hypothetical. So, and you can go ahead and weigh in on this to a degree, David, because you'd have a view on some of this in general. Assume we won a lottery, and it gave us these options. And so we got 3 would you rathers. Would you rather have home game seats for a single season in an in-zone luxury suite, or Santee Lounge club seats for that season? So would you rather be in on the around the 50-yard line and being able to go into the group club and share the club with all these other people, or would you rather be in the end zone, have your own suite with your own select group of people, I think it's 20, but you're in the end zone? I choose the Santee Lounge. Jay chose the end zone.
I chose the Santee Lounge.
What do you choose, Lucas?
Mine has to be determined on, are there outside seats in the end zone? Is it a box with a couple seats in front?
I
There
think they're
are. That's how
outside
they do
seats.
it. They have the section of seats.
I would not go to a college football game
and be
in a
inside.
suite.
So they have the suite,
chance.
and it's really just it. I remember this. I toured
It's
them.
kind of like the baseball game.
and they have like they have 4 TVs in there, and they have all these food stations
Yeah.
and stuff, and you can obviously get
But your
warm.
seat's outside.
But your seat is under. It's covered, but it's outside.
That's the
You're
perfect
outside.
scenario. So definitely the end zone.
I knew you would choose that.
If it was only a box, I would say neither, because
say-
I will not watch an OU football game
Oh, I'm not
in
saying
a box.
I've had options to
I have
go
to be-
into a box, and I
You have to be outside.
I want
you
to be
have
outside.
to hear
Yeah.
the sounds.
So, you have a view on that? Would you rather be in zone luxury suite or have a club seat, but
Put
be
me on
at
the 50-yard line outside, but
You're
I'm
a
with Lucas.
50-yard
It
line
has
guy?
to be outside.
You're an outside guy too. You're a true fan.
Agree.
Okay, here's another what if. Have an OU luxury suite, which I think is 20 tickets, for life, or attend all the away games and bowl games for OU for life, having all basic travel expenses, including staying at the team hotel, and up to 6 tickets to the event. Now, these are just tickets that we would buy. This isn't luxury tickets. And if you don't use them, you cannot resell the excess tickets. You cannot resell the travel spot. So it's use it or lose it. I would choose the luxury suite at home. And Ava pointed out something that was good, and that is, she said, well, you could use the money that you're already spending on that, and you could attend the away games and ball games that you want to attend. She leaned towards the away games. Jay chose away games, but the reason I don't like that is it's easy to think of the bowl games and how fabulous they are, but have you been to Ames? Have you been to Fort Worth? I mean, that's not that fabulous of a trip. It would be nice, but a lot of those trips you don't even want to take. So I don't know if that's as much as being able to have a luxury suite for life. What do you guys think?
I think definitely the away games, because luxury suite does me no good. I want to sit in the end zone in my current seats until I'm not breathing.
So having bad taste
having
leads you
the
to,
best seat in the house for as long as I'm still breathing, hopefully.
well, as an end zone analyst, you
easy-
kind of have
yes,
to.
as an end zone analyst, you have to. So it's a no-brainer. And then you didn't factor in, we're moving to the SEC.
Right.
So now we're going to have
So how many
14
trips
other
to
schools-
Starksville do you want to go to?
all of them. If it's
Oh well, it's all
it
expenses
says
paid.
it says travel expenses, so I'm
Yeah.
getting a fly in
So
and
you
out of
get-
all these little places.
You get, but it's reasonable travel expenses. You don't
You're
get.
not getting
That's
wheels
I
up.
don't.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't need wheels up.
Okay.
Fly. You can fly to Tuscaloosa.
You're going to
probably.
be with the chickens and Indiana Jones in the puddle jumper, and then you're going to land, and you're going to get.
Well, Nashville is awesome. Vanderbilt's
yeah,
there.
that'd be cool.
Kentucky's beautiful.
Oh yeah, it'd be all
Florida.
over.
I don't know about Athens. Looks nice.
Tuscaloosa, they all fun. It'd be fun.
Greenville's awesome.
I put this together thinking it's a pretty close call.
Even in the
It is
Big
a tough
12
decision.
scenario, I still do it because we have an administration currently, at least, that plans great teams to play against on a regular basis.
So you
we
would
have
expect to
we have
go to
Michigan,
those
we
Ohio
have-
States and
yes.
the Tennessees
So
and
if you
the
if you get
UCLAs.
one of those every other season, this makes it worth it, because how many times have
I
we gone
agree.
to
That
just
helps.
Big 12 schools
That
where
helps.
we're still looking for tickets like 2 hours before the game and
I know.
having to decide on something.
I know.
Where in this scenario, you have all your tickets taken care of,
Yeah,
even
but I'm not
if
worried
they're
about
in the
that.
corner of the end zone,
Yeah, and sometimes they would be.
and sometimes would be.
But I just think there's only 2 games max per year that are really of that caliber. Whereas if we have the luxury suites,
What
we're
does
living
luxury suite
large.
do for you that you don't currently have?
You get to bring
Besides, you get to
whoever
go
you
indoors.
want.
Get to bring
You
who I
can have whatever you
want.
want.
Get the food. Get
food's
the
overrated.
get the comforts of climate control when I want to get out of the weather, and not having to hear the morons around me with all of their.
I mean, I wouldn't want to sit next to Connor either.
Hey, we're
Connor, what did you
we're
choose?
two rows separated.
Oh, 2 rows apart.
The guy that sits between us is a tool.
He is dumb. Your dad?
No, Randy's great. No, that's a tough one. I kind of took it 2 parts. So like probably over the next 10 to 20 years, I think the away games would be ideal. Like I think it'd be fun getting to do that with my kids. And as they grow up, being like, all right, like we already know what we're doing this weekend, this fall. Like we're going, like it's done, and you know we can bring 1 or 2 extra people with the 6 tickets.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be great. But you know, as like we age, having that luxury lounge and being able to bring whomever we wanted to, you go and you could just ball out for the game. Like you just do whatever you want.
I don't know that I like 20 people. So,
But you don't have to.
But you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to. You could have the
but
space.
It could
6,
be 10.
the
It
6
could be
tickets
10.
for the away ones
But you
sounds
think
just
about
right.
it, it starts adding up a lot because you've got, think of the people that are at this house. You're probably choosing the people that come to this house. That we're close to 20
We're pushing it.
about every time. Oh, your dad's out.
Yeah, I like it.
So I don't know. It's
See,
tough. I
it's
think
tough.
they're both great options. But I think initially, if I had to choose today, I would say the away games and the bowl games, even if it meant
Okay.
the tickets that we buy, getting to have those experiences in those different cities, expenses paid essentially
Yeah.
would be great. I mean, I'm looking look ahead to Athens and even when we go and play.
Well,
some-
hopefully we're in a
Steve's
lot of
got
cool
this-
in
bowl
Michigan.
games.
Steve
Yeah,
had you
bowl
staying at
games.
the team hotel, so you're probably making
Playoff
friends with
games.
players.
So
and
that's
hanging out
pretty
with
cool
them
too. That is a big thing
It's a perk.
that helps perk it up. So last one of these, you get $2,500 worth of OU official team apparel every year for 10 years, or $2,500 of seat credit, good for all games, home, away, and bowl. You choose how to spend it each year for 10 years. What would you choose, Lucas?
Easily the seat credit.
I agree.
I've
seat
got
credit.
tons of OU apparel.
Okay, that's
Secret-
interesting.
secret
I don't know
as
what
well.
$2,500
All right.
of apparel would do for you. Like,
Well, that's funny. I crafted that question thinking that you two, the little clothes horses,
I just go to the OU
would
sale
have
and buy
wanted
stuff for
that.
$1.
But you could have all of it. You don't get no dollar. You don't have to pick through the.
I mean, it'd be
the
nice to have
scraps.
some of those Jordan shoes.
He's literally asking to get down.
It'd be nice to have some of those Jordan shoes.
You better let him down.
But
he might
outside of that, I mean,
yeah,
I'd
you
much
get
rather
the
have the
Jordan
seat credit.
shoes. You get okay. And I'm not arguing. I just
Yeah.
I thought you might bite
no.
on that.
No,
Okay.
that one wasn't even close.
You were smart on the
Yeah,
math.
I've got
of
so
that
much OU gear.
one. All right.
Seat credit would be great.
Yeah.
All right, this next one is a choose one, and you're gonna have to listen to it. It gets a little complicated.
David
with
can
the
answer this
stuff
one,
in
too.
here. David can answer this one for Ohio
For
State.
Ohio State.
So over the next 10 seasons for us OU, for you Ohio State, you can either one, your record could be 134 wins, 13 losses. That's 147 games, or a 91.2% winning record, winning 6 conference titles but no national championships, even though the team gets to the championship game 3 times with a 9-4 bowl record. They actually make 4 college football playoff appearances. Or you have a 109-31 wins to loss record out of 140 games, winning only 77.9, basically 78% of your games, 3 conference titles and 2 national championships over that 10-year span, a 6-7 bowl record, and 3 appearances in the college football playoff. Who wants to go first? David, we haven't heard from you. What do you want for Ohio State? And what's your reasoning?
So you almost have to go with the national titles. The winning's great, but you guys have sat here for the last 30, 45 minutes talking about the games you lost and how that's ruined seasons. If you want to go 13-1, 14-1, all you're going to do is sit back 15 years later and wish you'd won that game.
Ooh, what a good point.
If you give me national titles, that'll last forever, and you're going to overlook the mediocre 8-4 season that would have, could have been.
Absolutely smooths it over. Option 2.
Option 2 takes
every
the,
day of the
Connor
week.
takes the titles.
Easily.
Lucas?
Give me-
no
Lucas
brainer.
takes the
national
Connors.
champions.
Jay takes the titles. I reluctantly take the titles for all of those reasons. But
It would hurt.
what hurts me
going
is to know
31 losses as opposed to 13 losses.
that's a big,
And
big,
that's
a
big
big
difference.
and the 6 and 7 bowl record also.
And
is
I think back to
very
the Buffalo
unsettling.
Bills in the 1990s when they went to the Super Bowl four straight times.
Yep.
that team that wins 91% of their games in their 6 conference titles, they're arguably the best team over that decade. It is very tough for anybody to compete with that, but they don't have the national titles to show for it. And you're giving up a lot potentially in that weird trade-off that I paint. Interesting that we all agreed. Last one. Think about the kind of season a player, and by extension his team, have when the player wins the Heisman Trophy. How many Heismans is a national championship worth?
I'll give up every Heisman Trophy for one title.
So,
Ooh, that's heavy.
David says infinite.
For one,
How many Heismans does Ohio State have?
Top of my head,
Archie Griffin has 2. Eddie George has 1.
I think we have 8.
Troy Smith
I
has
don't
1.
think you have 8.
I don't think you have 8 either.
And Joe Washington should have won at least one of those Archie Griffins.
I think you've got.
And Adrian Peterson.
I named 4. I think you've got 6, maybe.
if you could guarantee me one national championship within a decade time frame, I would sacrifice a Heisman every single year. Absolutely.
But 10 Heismans for one?
I would sacrifice.
And I'm not saying it's your first one. That could matter. If you're saying it's your
that is
first.
Tough.
7.
7.
So if you're saying it's your first
6 people.
National
6 and
title,
8, we were pretty close.
and you've won a bunch of Heismans or several, that's different than saying. So it's I kind of come from the perspective that you're a team that has won some Heismans and won some national titles.
I would sacrifice, like, for example, all 3 of the Heisman that have been won, or sorry, all 4 of the Heismans that have been won in my
In your
lifetime for one of those national
Yeah,
championships
so
that
you're
we've talked about.
So you're at least 4 to 1.
You're 4 to 1.
But maybe more. But maybe more.
Maybe
Would you
more.
do a 5? Would you do a 6? Do I hear 7? My number's 5, and I come up that kind of
I
arbitrarily.
think I'd be really pushing to go to 5.
But I
yeah.
think about 5 tremendous seasons. I think about the seasons that Kyler Murray had, that Bradford had, that Jason White had, and those are big seasons you're giving up. And I'm assuming when you're giving them up, you're giving up a
Of the
lot.
team.
You're winning.
That's a good point.
You're winning or losing 2 or 3 additional games at least.
And you're giving up a Baker one, too.
And I'm just saying
That gives you 4.
Think about the season. Think about the
Yeah, I
season.
guess I didn't think about the season type. That's a good point. That's where
I'm
I
only
think
giving
I
up
don't add
2.
that into my calculation at all.
2. Interesting.
I'm only giving up 2.
You think it's worth 2? That's valuing a Heisman a lot.
I think a Heisman.
Like, you wouldn't give up Baker's full season for a national title.
Well, he might. He would give up.
Yeah,
He would give up Baker
so
and Kyler
I
for a
would give
national
up.
title.
I would give up a White and a Kyler
Yeah,
for one national
Yeah.
championship.
I think that's.
I think that's
But
fair.
I think it's because the notoriety the Heisman brings to a university
right.
has long lasting in the minds of just college football fans. When you say the name, well, that's a tough one. If I said Vince Young, people would know that's a huge. He didn't win a Heisman, but people would think, oh, he was an amazing player.
Right.
But you can.
You can pick a lot of players who didn't win one,
Right.
and they get forgotten. and-
Like-
yeah,
Some people, like Larry Fitzgerald, was a great college football player. He
Right.
finished second in the Heisman to Jason White.
right.
But people that are college football fans, if you say Jason White, they're like, oh, that guy won a Heisman.
Right.
And, if you hear Larry Fitzgerald, you're like, oh, he was a great pro. But
Great player. Yeah.
Yeah. So-
Well, and I'm assuming when I say given the team and the season they get, I'm thinking that you're giving up a few wins in that process. So you're having a 2019 OU season versus a 2018 season, and there were some differences between those, and that was still pretty close.
Yeah.
What if we went with a 2016 versus a 2017, and now we're talking some differences
14 in the
or a
17.
14, yeah. So 5 might be a little bit much. I don't know. It's tough to say.
I think it's 2.
I think I'm just very much itching for a national title.
I am too.
And I think it.
And I like
think
how
if there
David
was,
puts it in valuing them very highly because they're the pinnacle. It's what you're after.
Yeah,
If you're talking about remembering a player, you're going to remember an entire team and
Right.
the players on that team.
Right.
man, that would be.
There's something to be said for a statue, though, what OU's got going on. Heisman Park's pretty damn cool.
Well, and it's
I
just
think
the
we're the
pride.
only place that's done something.
The
like
pride
that.
with it is pretty awesome. Like
Yeah,
it is fun to
Now that
bring
you
those
mention
guys
that,
back
that probably
around.
plays into your numbers more so than it plays into mine because we don't have a Heisman Park.
Yeah.
We'll plant a tree for every All-American,
Right.
but we don't.
What if a tree dies? Do they have to kill the player if he's still alive?
Absolutely.
And
It's
when
in the
was your
squad after
last?
him.
Your last Heisman was Trent Smith, right?
Troy Smith.
Or Troy
Yeah,
Smith? Sorry,
it's
not
been
Trent Smith.
15 years. Yeah.
Troy
So, it's
Smith,
been-
and Eddie George was 95.
And you've had a couple guys in New York, but
Yeah, but with an outside chance to win. And
Yeah.
I guess that's
there's
whenever-
probably some recency bias
Ezekiel
as well.
Elliott
With
made
Absolutely.
it, maybe.
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
especially with our national title being.
But I think specific to
Significant.
OU, that's
Exactly.
the Heisman
More
Park. I mean, it may just be OU fans that think it's cool, but
Well, I
would,
think anybody would think
I
that's
would
pretty
think
cool.
that
I
if-
think we've done a great
I
job.
think when
with
we
that.
have people come in from other schools and
That's
they
something
walk
they
around
go
the
see.
stadium,
I mean, it's something
that's a point of interest.
Yeah.
it makes you appreciate the history of your program, especially if
Yeah.
you're coming in from Notre Dame or somewhere and you've never been to Oklahoma. You can.
Yeah.
Yeah. See.
And now I've got
see
the
some
coaches
history.
thing over there too, which is
Well, yeah.
I mean, the Heisman's the showstopper to me.
Well, and they're not going cheap on it. Like they're legitimate statues.
Yeah.
Like they are.
They sure
I mean,
are.
they're professionally done.
How do you feel about a
and
Selman Brothers statue?
I think it should happen.
I
think it
absolutely
should
think it
too.
should.
Now, I think they should do it in a different spot.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think have a different park for those really memorable, amazing players. But they would, and every time somebody puts that on Twitter, it's easy to say that's going to be your number one. There's some others that will get on that list, and then you start to get to where if you can get a donor, it'd be arguable about some people. But man, the Selmans are undeniable.
Yeah,
That's a pretty
program
amazing
changers.
story. Program changers for sure.
I mean, does Bosworth get one in that situation?
Yes, the Boz
I
gets
think Boz
one.
has to get one.
Absolutely, the Boz gets one. That'd be a good another question to
Yeah.
think who we
What-
work
who,
through.
who should get statues?
Could we find one that we'd argue about?
Probably.
Well, I'm sure we could.
There's a lot of
Adrian
statue guys.
Peterson
Adrian
should.
Peterson, I think.
You
is,
start.
you
It's
know,
tough with running backs, though. I mean, DeMarco Murray, who
we all voted
back
as
in-
like number one.
I voted is my number one,
No,
not
Adrian was my number one.
Joe
had
Mixon
DeMarco on
was Jay's
mine.
number one. Would he?
He doesn't get a statue.
He said
His statue's just like this.
Yeah.
DeMarco doesn't get a statue.
Yeah, see, I don't think he probably does either, which is weird. So I'm putting him as my best
DeMarco
running back
sticks
of all
around
time.
for.
Adrian
DeMarco
was a-
sticks around for the next 20 years
Yeah,
and
that's
becomes
a
head
good point.
coach.
Does Kel Gundy
Adrian was a
As a coach.
Heisman runner-up.
and player.
Kel Gundy has to get
Yeah.
a plaque at least. Like
Yeah, has
you
to
know.
get something. By the way, Jay answered the Heisman question as I don't know. It was too challenging. for
And
him.
also,
My mom's here.
also in our age range, video games plays a big part of it. Because generally, if you won the Heisman as a senior
You're on the
or as a
cover.
junior, you went to pro.
You're the guy.
You were on the cover of that game. When Jason White won it, he came back for another season, so they put
couldn't be on
Fitzgerald
there.
on the cover because he
Yeah.
went to the pros.
I didn't
The,
think
then
about that.
The
or know
game
that.
stopped at a certain point.
Yeah.
2008.
So
Michael
Bradford
Crabtree was the last cover.
Bradford wasn't on there
Mm-hmm.
because he won a Heisman and came back and got injured. In
That's
the
why
BYU
Michael
game.
Crabtree was on it.
That's why Crabtree was on it. So so if you factored that part into people of our age that played a lot of
Yeah.
the NCAA football game, it was a big deal that if you won a Heisman, you were going to be on the cover if you went to the
See, to
NFL
me, I
next season.
wrote something about this on my blog a long time ago that I find the Heisman to be a little superficial and overrated, and it's because it's so arbitrary. And you're coming down to, and I guess at the time I was really thinking about how frustrating it is that there was the manipulation at the time, and there's always been manipulation with it. When the USC guys wouldn't even put OU guys on their ballot,
On the
which
ballot.
is just completely
It's absurd.
illegitimate.
Oh, and they did it. Their College Football 150 did
And
a
so that
show
kind of-
on it that was amazing.
Oh, I need to see that.
Oh, man, it's
So
great.
that probably taints the Heisman a little bit for me. If you could have a voting process that was something we could
Rigid.
believe in, you know, like that this is America, we don't believe in voting legitimately.
Yeah, not at all.
No political commentary there,
Not
just
at all.
just a joke. But no, I think that would help establish it a little bit for me. But it is a team sport, and I want it to be a team sport always.
It also might seem to me more that it means more because we've seen it so much.
yeah, the recency bias that he was mentioning for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, we were kind of hanging
in
our
the
hat
last
on
in
it
the last 20 years,
by not having.
It's been
it's
White,
our
Yeah,
substitute
Bradford,
not
for
having the
national
titles.
titles.
Yeah.
Not having the titles.
Yeah.
that is very
For sure.
very good point.
Makes
Yeah.
it a little bit
And
more
not to
bearable.
mention runner-ups. I mean, Peterson was a runner-up,
Yeah.
and White finished third.
Yeah.
And then you had Heupel was a runner-up.
Hurts, runner
Hurts
up.
was
Hertz was a runner-up.
Dede
Westbrook went to
Dede
the
Westbrook.
Dede
He was,
Westbrook
yeah,
made
he
it.
went to New York.
Yeah.
Baker
was a runner-up.
Superman went to New York. Roy Williams.
Did he?
I'm pretty sure he did.
Did he really?
He was like I think he was like third.
like
No,
in
I don't think
01?
so.
I look it up. I
think he was
he
6 or
really
7.
high.
I don't think he went
Oh,
to New
was he
York.
like 6 or 7? Okay. Well, he was real. Well, that's pretty damn high.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
I thought he went to New York.
in the
actually.
last, if you count top 5
He's in my New
Heisman
York.
voters in the last 22 seasons or whatever it's been, I bet OU's had 17 times that we've had somebody in the top 5.
Yeah.
Roy Williams finished 7th in 2001.
That's not top 5, but
Is it not? Hold on.
Top,
so you had but a
it's top
Heupel was
10 though.
Heupel was 2000.
Yeah.
Then you had White win it.
I think
he was the
03,
first defensive player behind 6 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
03, and then you had Peterson and White both made it in 04.
Yeah, knock each other out.
And then Bradford in 08.
Plus the USC fraud.
Well, I guess we had a gap there between
USC had 2 guys in there too. I should-
09
but
and
they cheated.
and 16 then, right?
Yeah.
Or no, well, did Baker get in
I
15?
thought Baker got in.
Got it. Yeah, he got in 15. And he got
15,
in.
and then
No, he got in 15, 16.
15, 16, and
And then-
17. I thought.
okay,
And one in
15 he was
17.
like
17.
5th or 6th.
Yeah.
But then Baker and
Yeah.
Westbrook both in 16.
Right.
And then Baker won in
Baker won,
17,
yep.
and then Kyler 18.
Yeah, yeah,
Hurts,
yeah. Hurts got in.
yeah,
Into
running up
New York.
19. So that's a long stretch of
That is
having
a huge stretch.
people in there.
It's kind of weird. It's like it's almost like do voters start thinking it's a tough thing to do to evaluate who should win the Heisman. I remember who was the guy from Alcorn State that won it?
Steve McNair.
Yeah, McNair. And so you don't find those guys anymore. Now it's like, all right, I need to have a Heisman top 10. Give me, what are the programs that can produce a Heisman? And there's
Give
just
me
4
their
of
starting
them.
quarterback at all of them.
Well, by the
Yeah.
way,
Pick one.
Yeah.
the Heisman favorite going into last season was none other than Spencer Rattler. And we see how that turned out.
Yeah, but wait until he wins the Heisman this year, and then you'll see why.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baker went 4-3-1 in 15, 16, 17.
Gabriel 1, Rattler 2,
Mm-hmm.
Mordecai 3, Caleb Williams 4. It'll be all.
And Lincoln Riley will demand a raise.
So
for
Mordecai is coming back.
I don't know.
I don't know. No, I think he might be. I haven't seen anything
I don't
on him.
know.
So
it. Well, any more controversial questions to cover? Anything we didn't talk about? Thanks for joining us, David.
Oh,
that was
anytime.
great.
good question.
That was
Well,
awesome.
I'm excited to see some Twitter responses.
Yeah, we're going to put this on Twitter. We'll find out from there. And we're watching the OU game. OU's struggling a little bit against Texas Tech. It is 25-18. Come on, Sooners. Let's pull this thing out.
We can just keep down the turnovers.
There we go.
Might actually win the
25-20.
game.
All right, there we go. We're in this
25-20.
thing.
All right.
All right, well, until next time,
Boomer
Sooner.
Sooner.
Remember sooner.